Before we begin, this story contains descriptions of a deadly fire and people making impossible choices under extreme circumstances. If that's something you need to step away from, we understand. Take care of yourself first. This episode's narration is AI-generated. The research, writing, and editorial decisions behind every story are made with care for accuracy and respect for those involved. In 1946, the Weinkauf Hotel printed the same promise on every piece of stationery, every advertisement, every brochure: absolutely fireproof. It was one of Atlanta's tallest buildings. It had a steel frame protected by concrete, and on December 7th, when 119 people burned to death inside it, the hotel's structure didn't burn at all. The people did. You're listening to The Unlit Room. Every story in here actually happened. That's the part that should scare you. New stories every day, Monday through Saturday. Today, a fireproof building becomes the deadliest hotel fire in American history. 176 Peachtree Street, downtown Atlanta. December 6, 1946. The Weinkauf Hotel stands 15 stories tall, built in 1913 as one of the city's tallest buildings, on a lot just 63 feet wide and 70 feet deep. Steel frame, concrete protection, the words "absolutely fireproof" printed right there on the hotel stationery. On this December evening, it's crowded. Christmas shoppers from across Georgia. Moviegoers who'd just seen Disney's Song of the South playing across the street. 304 guests checked in, well above typical capacity. 40 of them are high school students, in town for the statewide YMCA Youth Assembly. They've been placed in rooms at the back of the hotel, next to the alley. 2 to a room. William Fleming Weinkauf built this place. He's 76 now. He and his wife Grace have lived in their suite on the 11th floor for 31 years. Round 3:15 in the morning on December 7th, a fire starts on the 3rd floor west hallway. A mattress and chair temporarily stored in the corridor close to the stairway to the 4th floor. Probably a dropped cigarette, the kind of thing that happens in hotels. A bellboy on the 5th floor notices it first. He's helping a guest. He smells smoke. He looks down the stairway. Fire. He's trapped now. The night manager tries to warn guests by telephone, calling individual rooms one at a time. There's a manual fire alarm at the front desk. It's 30 seconds from the nearest fire station. The fire department could be here in less than a minute. The alarm is never used. Nobody calls 911 for 27 minutes. The Weinkauf sits on a lot small enough that the Atlanta Building Code of 1911 said it only needed one stairway. Buildings on lots under 5,000 square feet got a pass. The Weinkauf's lot is 4,386 square feet, 614 square feet under the threshold, just enough to save on construction costs, just enough to avoid the legal requirement for a second exit. At 3:42 a.m., the night manager finally calls the fire department. The first engine and ladder companies arrive 30 seconds later. People are already jumping from windows. The hotel has one stairway. It runs 15 stories with no enclosing fire doors. Every guest room door is made of wood, 1.5 inches thick, with a movable transom panel above it for ventilation. Open transoms on every floor. Corridor walls finished with painted burlap fabric. Guest rooms with up to 7 layers of wallpaper. No sprinkler system, no fire doors, no enclosed exits. The word fireproof meant the steel frame wouldn't burn. It said nothing about what happens to the people inside when fire climbs an open stairwell like a chimney. By the time the firefighters arrive, fire has already climbed to the 13th floor. Everyone above the 3rd floor is trapped. 385 firefighters respond, 22 engine companies, 11 ladder trucks. The ladders reach only partway up the 15-story building. Micro cliffhanger 1. And then the guests make it worse. Every survival instinct tells you to open the door, to open the window, get air, get help, signal the firefighters. But the open transoms above every door are feeding fresh air to the fire. The stairway is acting as a flue. When guests open windows on upper floors, they create a draft. The fire climbs faster. There's a 10-foot wide alley behind the hotel, separating it from the mortgage guarantee building next door. Firefighters lay ladders horizontally across the alley to adjacent buildings for rescue. They climb the 12-story mortgage guarantee building and the 6-story Davison-Paxson department store. They hold nets below windows. They try to catch people who've misjudged the gap. Arnold Hardy is a 24-year-old Georgia Tech grad student. He's just left a dance. He has his camera and one flashbulb. He photographs a woman, Daisy McCumber, falling from the building. She survives with serious injuries. The photograph wins the Pulitzer Prize. The fire station was 2 blocks away. The response time was 30 seconds. It's the kind of detail you want to hear when you're booking a hotel. It's the kind of thing that should matter. But there's one part of the hotel where the ladders don't reach, where nobody even sees the rescue efforts in the alley, where the firefighters climbing the adjacent buildings can't help. The back of the hotel. Louvered shutters cover many of the windows, installed for privacy. Those 40 YMCA students had been placed in those rooms, 2 to a room. At the back of the hotel, the rooms with the shuttered windows. On every floor above the 5th, the occupants of shuttered rooms died. They couldn't see the ladders. They couldn't see the firefighters. They couldn't signal for help. The shutters meant for privacy became coffin lids. 30 of the 40 students died. Here's the detail that reframes everything. The Atlanta Building Code of 1911 allowed buildings on lots smaller than 5,000 square feet to have only one stairway. The Weinkauf's lot was 4,386 square feet, 614 square feet under the threshold. William Weinkauf didn't break the law, he built to the minimum. He saved 614 square feet and lost the legal requirement for a second exit. On the night of the fire, every person above the 3rd floor was trapped by that 614 square foot gap. The difference between one exit and 2, between legal and safe, between 119 deaths and maybe none. The size of a 1-bedroom apartment, the measure of what we're willing to risk. By dawn, the fire is under control. 119 people are dead, 65 injured, 120 rescued uninjured. Out of 304 guests, 32 died from jumping or falling. The rest died in their rooms, from smoke, from fire, from heat, from being trapped above the 3rd floor with one exit and no way out. William Fleming Weinkauf is found dead in a hall near his 11th floor apartment. He'd lived in the absolutely fireproof hotel for 31 years. Grace Weinkauf's body is on the Peachtree Street sidewalk. The man who built the fireproof hotel burned in it. The Weinkauf's steel frame survived the fire intact. The building is still standing today, converted to residential use. The marketing was technically true. Absolutely fireproof. The steel didn't burn, and 119 people died anyway. After the Weinkauf, North America rewrote its building codes. Multiple protected exits, self-closing fire doors, sprinkler systems. Building alarms that actually get used. Every fire code is written in someone's blood. The 119 who died in Atlanta saved thousands who didn't die in hotels after. Words matter. The gap between fireproof and safe is the difference between a marketing slogan and 119 people who went to sleep in a hotel and never woke up. If this one kept you up tonight, good. New stories every day, Monday through Saturday. Subscribe so the next one finds you too. Follow the Unlit Room wherever you listen. Tell a friend who can't sleep. Full story on the main channel. Follow if you're wide awake. That was the Unlit Room. See you in the dark.